Welcome back to Lizzie's lovely allotment. I thought we'd have a little talk about slugs. Now, slugs are one thing in the garden that I cannot bear. I know that they have their place, I know that they're part of a healthy garden ecosystem, but what makes me so upset is when I plant my lettuces or I plant my cabbages and 30 seconds later they have just disappeared and they've been eaten by a slimy critter. Now, I don't use chemicals and I don't use pesticides, so I try and work within using natural ways of keeping slugs away. So I thought we'd just talk through some of the things that I've tried and some new things that I'm going to try this year. So the first thing that I use is beer traps. They work really well. Any plastic container that you've got in the kitchen that you can sink into the ground, like a margarine tub or a yogurt pot, you put some beer in there. I put several of them around a bed. The slugs are attracted to the smell of the beer. It doesn't have to be a can of new beer. You can just go to your local pub and get some slops. The slug will go inside and die very happy at the bottom of this container. Now, word of warning, you need a strong stomach because what's left in there is a slimy, gooey, disgusting mess that stinks. So when you get rid of it, you really do have to have a strong stomach, but it works really well and it will keep the critters away from your produce. The only thing that I've found with beer traps is it doesn't work when you're on a hard standing. So I use cold frames, which are on a patio. And of course, I can't use a beer trap on a cold frame. So this year I'm going to try this copper mesh. It's like a very, very fine chainmail. And apparently this will give a slight electric shock to the slug with this when it tries to slime over it. And I've also bought some copper tape. Again, I haven't used it yet, so I can't say how well it works, but other people have said that it does work quite well. So another thing that I'm going to try, that around the top of my pots, and this I'm just going to spread out in the bottom of the cold frame and try that. If you don't want to use beer, you don't want the expensive beer, you can just use yeast. They're just attracted to the smell. So just make the yeast up with some warm water and put that into your containers instead. That was just a cheap packet of yeast that I bought. The other one that I use regularly, which does seem to work really well, although it's quite expensive, is the Slug. With this, you get a pack. You can do a subscription so that you sign up for it on a regular basis, but I just buy it as and when I need it. You have to keep it in the fridge, and it does have a sell-by date. So do it when you buy it, when you know you're going to do it. You mix it up into a stock solution. The ratios are on the instructions. So you mix it up in a watering can, and then you will take a certain amount of that stock solution, mix it with more water, and then just water it on your garden. This is completely organic, biological. It won't hurt any pets or anything like that. So for me, with the chickens, that's really important to me. And that seems to kill the slugs and keep them at bay. So it's some kind of I don't know the science behind it, but it's some parasite or something that gets inside the slugs and kills them. Works well, but you do need to do it regularly. I do it a couple of times a year. The other thing that you can try is the crushed eggshells, the grit. Apparently they don't like putting their slimy bodies over anything like that. Grit, eggshells. I haven't tried those things, so I can't say how well they work, but anything that keeps them away for me is worth a go. So just a few things that I use. Obviously everybody's got their own ideas, which is great, and I hope that you found a way that you can keep your slugs at bay. The other way that I was doing it last year, because last year was a particularly bad year, was going out at night with a torch and a bucket and picking the little critters off. Oh, disgusting. Apparently this year's not going to be quite so bad. So let's just keep our fingers crossed for happy, slug-free gardening. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks a lot. Bye.